Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins.
Yeah, it's a great book.
I think it's really popular. We've
Yeah.
had a lot of requests to cover it. And we're going to try to distill it down into like the most actionable stuff.
Yeah, this is the good stuff. This is like the stuff you can use
Yeah.
today, like right after you listen to this.
Exactly. So if you're ready for some aha moments, buckle up and get ready to dive in.
Yeah, he just cuts through all the noise and the financial jargon
Right.
and just gets down to like the core principles. And I think that's what makes it so good.
Exactly. Yeah. And he starts out strong with this concept of FU money, which, I think a lot of people hear that and they think, oh, it's just about, being rich or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's really about having that financial cushion
Yeah.
that gives you the power to walk away from situations you don't want to be in.
It is. It's exactly that. It's like, I love how he uses anecdotes from his own life, like throughout the book to kind of illustrate these points. So like, he talks about negotiating extra vacation time from a job because he wasn't worried about the financial hit, right? He's like, oh, well, it's just money. I'll take the time. And later on, he actually like left this stressful work environment.
Right.
He was working for this big company and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And he just walked away.
He talks about even how it empowered him and his wife to make the choice for her to stay home with their daughter.
Yeah.
It wasn't about being a millionaire or anything, but just having that security.
That freedom.
Yeah, to prioritize.
To choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? What situations would you walk away from
Oh, man.
if you had that kind of freedom?
So many. No, I mean, it's really all about choices, right? And that's central to Collins's whole philosophy.
Yeah.
And he's very clear the biggest roadblock to that is debt.
Debt, yes.
That's like, he uses really strong language about debt.
Yeah, he does.
Calling it like dangerous and an obstacle.
He compares it to
Addiction?
wealth. Yeah, he's like, this is serious stuff. You got to
It's like,
avoid this, get rid of this.
yeah, it's so funny. He tells the story about his first credit card experience and how he was so excited to have it. But then it was his sister who was the one who kind of like...
That's right. Yeah, his older sister gave him the real talk.
Pointed out like all the interest rates and how you could just get trapped in.
Exactly, and the minimum payments and all this stuff. Like, you think you're getting this free money, but then you're really not.
Sounds familiar.
It's like those buy now, pay later deals.
Right.
It's like, yeah, it seems great now, but like the hidden cost.
Yeah.
Collins emphasizes that over and over again. It's like, it's not just the interest. It's that feeling of being trapped.
Yeah.
And that just leads to more destructive financial behaviors.
Right. So debt is the villain.
Debt's the villain.
Yes.
In this story. Okay.
It is. It is the big bad.
How do we slay the dragon? How do we escape?
Well, he gives a very simple formula.
Okay.
This is it. This is the magic. Spend less than you earn. Invest the surplus. Avoid debt.
Okay.
Like over and over and over again, he hammers this point home.
Right.
Even for high earners. He's got this great example of Mike Tyson.
Oh, yeah.
Who earned millions and millions of dollars but ended up bankrupt.
Right.
Because he didn't understand this basic principle.
Yeah. That's a good point. Like, no matter how much money you make.
Right.
If you're spending more than you earn, you're going to
be in trouble.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's talk investing.
Okay.
Because that's a big part of this too. What's his big investment advice?
Very simple. Low-cost index funds.
Okay.
Specifically, Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund, VTSAX.
VTSAX.
Got it. He believes that trying to pick individual stocks or time the market is just a fool's game.
He compares it to believing in Santa Claus, yeah?
Yeah, he's like, don't do that.
Yeah. A lot of people, I think, would say that indexing is boring, though.
Right.
What about the people who think they can do better?
He addresses that. He says there's this allure. There are all these schemes, these get-rich-quick schemes, promising unrealistic returns. And picking a winning stock is exciting. I mean, it's fun, right?
Sure.
But he emphasizes it's often luck, not skill.
Okay.
And he says accepting that reality and embracing this simple low-cost indexing approach can lead to greater wealth in the long run.
Okay, so VTSAX.
Got it.
But he also talks about bonds, right?
Yeah, he does.
Where do those fit into the picture?
He's got this interesting take on bonds. He sees them less as like a growth engine and more as a tool.
Okay.
Specifically for hedging against deflation.
Okay.
And he uses this staged explanation of bonds. Like, he starts with the basics, which I think is helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
He says, think of bonds as loans. You make them to companies or the government. And in return, you receive these interest payments.
Okay. That makes sense.
Right. So you're lending your money and you're getting paid for it.
Got it.
Okay. So
Does he recommend a specific bond fund, too?
He does. He recommends Vanguard's Total Bond Market Index Fund,
Oh.
VBTLX.
VBPLX. Got it. Write that down, everyone.
That's our deflation hedge. So we've got our wealth building engine, VTSAX, and our deflation hedge, VBTLX.
Okay.
But how do we actually use these to build that FU money?
Right. Good question. So he talks about 2 stages of investing.
Yeah.
Wealth accumulation.
Growth accumulation, exactly. It's like he's mapping out the journey, right?
Right. Yeah.
And the second stage, wealth preservation.
Wealth preservation. Okay.
So wealth accumulation is when you're working, you're saving, you're adding to your investments.
Okay.
During this phase, he recommends a 100% stock portfolio, all VTSAX.
Wow. 100%. That sounds a little risky.
It does. But his logic is when you have a long time horizon, like you do, during your working years, you can ride out the market's ups and downs.
Right. You have time to recover.
You have time to recover, yeah.
What happens when you transition to the wealth preservation stage?
So for wealth preservation, which typically occurs during retirement or when you're living off your investments, he recommends a more balanced approach, specifically 75% stocks, VTSAX, and 25% bonds, VBTLX.
So you're dialing down the risk a little bit.
You are. Yeah, you're getting a little more conservative as you get
closer to needing the money.
Closer to needing the money, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Does he have anything to say to people who...
Oh, I was going to say, he also mentions an even simpler option.
Oh, okay.
Vanguard's Target Retirement Funds, or TRFs.
Okay. What are those?
These funds automatically adjust your asset allocation as you get closer to your target retirement date.
So it's like a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Like a robo-advisor.
Takes the guesswork out of it.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, very cool.
What about taxes? Like, we haven't even talked about the tax implications of all this.
Oh, right, of course. Yeah. And Collins is all about this. He's got like detailed explanations of tax-advantaged accounts, 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs, all that good stuff. And he explains like when it makes sense to use one over the other, and the importance of using these accounts to shield your investments from taxes.
So it's almost like you're getting like a bonus?
You are. It's free money from the government.
Yeah.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah, for saving for retirement.
Yeah.
But he doesn't just give like a basic overview.
No, he gets into some pretty advanced strategies.
Yeah.
He talks about Roth IRA conversions as a way to potentially minimize taxes in retirement. He likes to use these conversions in the years leading up to RMDs.
RMDs.
Yeah.
Required minimum distributions.
Required minimum distributions. You've got it.
Yeah. I know that...
okay, good.
I just wanted to make sure everybody listening knew what we were talking about.
Right. Of course.
Those mandatory withdrawals.
Yes. When you hit 70 and a half.
Yes. So it's like you're kind of strategically prepaying some taxes.
You are.
So you avoid a bigger bill later on.
Yes, you're being smart about it.
Yeah.
You're thinking ahead.
What about healthcare costs in retirement?
Oh, that's a biggie. That can really derail people.
Yeah.
So that's where these health savings accounts come in.
Okay.
HSAs. Collins describes these as like triple tax advantage.
Triple tax advantage.
Yeah. You get a tax deduction for contributions.
Okay.
The money grows tax-free. And withdrawals for qualified medical expenses are also tax-free.
Wow. That's like a superpower for healthcare costs.
It is. And he points out they can be used in retirement for things like Medicare premiums.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about all the saving and investing.
Right.
How much money can we actually withdraw from our portfolio in retirement?
That's the million-dollar question. And that's where the famous 4% rule comes in.
Okay, the 4% rule. I've heard of that.
Yeah, and Collins explains this. He suggests withdrawing 4% of your portfolio each year, adjusted for inflation. And that's historically been a safe withdrawal rate.
But is that just like a hard and fast rule?
No, he stresses it's a guideline. Adjustments might be needed based on, like, your circumstances, market conditions, even life expectancy.
So flexibility is key.
Flexibility is key, yeah. You got to be able to adjust.
It seems like a lot of this stuff hinges on that, being able to adjust and be flexible.
It does, yeah. He emphasizes that a lot.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Now, the big question, Social Security. What does he say about Social Security?
He acknowledges there are concerns about its future, right? But he doesn't think it's going to disappear anytime soon.
Okay.
He recommends planning for retirement as if it won't be there, but seeing it as a potential bonus.
So in this little safety net.
Yeah, like, hey, it's great if it's there.
But don't rely on it.
Don't rely on it. Take control of your own future.
I like that.
Yeah.
It seems like he gets it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does. He understands. And he doesn't just focus on the numbers.
Yeah.
He talks about aligning your spending with your values.
Right.
Finding work you enjoy, living a fulfilling life.
So it's like a more holistic view of wealth.
It is. You got it. Building wealth is about creating the life you want.
Yeah.
Not just accumulating money. And he gives some really good real-life examples of how this works.
I like that. Okay. So that's kind of like a high-level overview, the first part of the book?
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground there.
Yeah.
But before we jump into part 2 of this deep dive, let's take a closer look at some of the common objections to Collins's approach.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do that. I'm sure people are thinking, well, wait a minute.
Exactly.
This is too simple.
Right. Yeah.
There's got to be more to it.
Yeah. What am I missing?
Right.
Let's talk about that. Okay, so I think one of the biggest criticisms of index fund investing is that it's boring.
Right.
Right. Like you're just settling for average returns. Yeah. It's like, why not swing for the fences? Right. Try to get those big gains.
Yeah. Yeah. What does Collins say to that?
He calls those high-flying investments magic beans.
Magic beans.
Yeah. Like they sound tempting, but in reality, very few investors consistently outperform the market over the long term.
And he includes professional investors in that too, right?
He does, yeah. He's like, even the pros, they have a hard time.
Okay, so instead of chasing those magic beans, he's saying
accept the reality of the market and invest in a way that captures its overall growth.
Okay, that makes sense.
Hey.
What about diversification?
He addresses that too.
Okay.
He acknowledges the importance of diversification.
Okay.
But he argues that for long-term wealth accumulation, a broad market stock index fund like VTSAX provides sufficient diversification.
Okay.
He says you're already holding thousands of stocks across various sectors.
Right, but you're already diversified just by
holding that one fund.
Okay. What about the people who say they can do better than the market by picking individual stocks?
Oh, he's got a great analogy for that.
Okay.
A dart-throwing chimpanzee.
Okay.
He basically says most individual stock pickers, even the ones with fancy algorithms or inside information, often perform no better than a chimp randomly throwing darts at a stock listing.
Okay, so he's saying it's basically luck.
Yeah, there's a lot of luck involved.
Okay. So what about those target retirement funds, those TRS?
Oh, yeah, the TRS.
Aren't those kind of a form of active management?
It's a good question. But while they do adjust your asset allocation over time, they're not actively picking stocks or trying to time the market.
Okay.
They're still based on those low-cost index funds.
So it's just kind of packaged in a way that's easier.
Yeah, for people who want a hands-off approach.
Okay, that makes sense. What if you don't have access to Vanguard funds, though?
Yeah, he addresses that too.
Okay.
He says the key is to find low-cost index funds, period, regardless of the provider.
Okay.
Fortunately, these days, most major mutual fund companies offer index funds with reasonable expense ratios.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's offering them now.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more common.
Okay.
It's all about doing your research.
Yeah.
And finding the best option for you.
Okay. But he does specifically recommend Vanguard, right?
Sure.
Like, there's something special about Vanguard.
He does. He explains that Vanguard is owned by its fund shareholders, which aligns their interests with their investors.
Okay, so it's not like some big corporation that's just trying to
make money off of you.
Yeah, yeah.
It keeps costs low.
Okay.
And focuses on long-term performance.
Okay, I like that. All right, now let's talk taxes.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's favorite topic.
This is where Collins really shines, though.
Okay.
He explains the difference between, like, traditional and Roth accounts.
Right.
The advantages of each.
Okay.
And when you should use one over the other.
So it's like a masterclass in tax-efficient investing?
Yeah, he gets pretty detailed, too.
He does. And he also, like, goes into those Roth IRA conversions, right?
He does. He explains how converting a portion of your traditional IRA to a Roth in the years leading up to RMDs can potentially lower your overall tax burden in retirement.
So you're kind of like prepaying some taxes.
You are.
To avoid a bigger bill later on.
Exactly.
Okay. What about healthcare costs? We talked about HSAs earlier.
Yeah, the HSAs.
How do those fit into everything?
He calls them a secret weapon.
A secret weapon?
Yeah. You get that triple tax advantage.
All right, the triple tax advantage.
Oh, the contributions are deductible.
Okay.
Money grows tax-free.
Okay.
And withdrawals for qualified medical expenses are also tax-free.
Wow.
It's a win-win-win.
Yeah. Okay, so how much can we actually withdraw in retirement, though?
Right, that's the big question.
Yeah.
That keeps people up at night.
Yeah.
So that's where the 4% rule comes in.
Okay.
But Collins goes beyond just stating the rule. He explains how it's based on historical market data
Yeah.
and the Trinity study,
Okay.
which analyzed different withdrawal rates over various time periods.
So it's not just like some arbitrary number.
No, it's based on research.
Okay.
But he cautions against being too rigid with it.
Okay, so it's a guideline, not a rule.
Exactly. Adjustments might be needed
Right.
based on your circumstances, market conditions, life expectancy.
Well,
He encourages a dynamic approach to withdrawals.
okay, that makes sense.
So taking into account like your actual expenses and the market environment.
Okay.
So you got to be flexible.
Okay, got it. Now, Social Security. What does he say about that?
This is a big one. He doesn't shy away from it.
Okay.
He acknowledges the concerns about its future,
Mm-hmm.
but he also provides some historical context,
Okay.
explaining how the program has adapted to challenges in the past.
Okay, so he's not just saying, like, it's all going to fall apart.
No, he's trying to be balanced.
Okay.
He's acknowledging the concerns, but also offering some reassurance.
But his advice is still to plan as if it won't be there.
Right. Don't rely on it.
Oh,
See it as a bonus if it is there.
A nice little bonus.
Exactly.
Okay. But he does give some advice for people who will be eligible.
He does. He talks about delaying benefits
Oh, yeah.
to receive larger payments later,
Right.
which can have a big impact on your lifetime income.
Yeah.
It's a complex topic,
Mm-hmm.
but he explains it very clearly.
Okay, good. Because I think a lot of people are confused about that.
Yeah. It's a confusing topic for sure.
But it seems like with all this, he's really trying to give people the tools to make informed decisions.
He is. He wants to empower people
Yeah.
to take control.
Not just about the numbers, right?
No. He emphasizes that true wealth encompasses more than just your net worth.
Okay, yeah. Like what?
It's about aligning your spending with your values.
Okay.
Finding work that you enjoy, living a fulfilling life.
It's like a holistic approach to wealth.
It is. It's recognizing that money is just one piece of the puzzle.
Okay, but he does give some concrete steps, right, for people who are just starting out?
Oh, yeah. He suggests building an emergency fund,
Way.
paying off high-interest debt,
Mm-hmm.
and then focusing on saving and investing at least 50% of your income.
And 50%, that's a lot.
It is. But he argues it's achievable
Okay.
if you have the right mindset.
It's about making it a priority.
Exactly.
Okay.
Not an afterthought.
And using those tax-advantaged accounts.
Yes.
Yeah.
401ks, IRAs,
Right.
max those out.
Take advantage of all the tools.
Exactly.
Okay.
Be smart with your money.
And start early.
Start early. The power of compounding.
Right, right. Time is on your side.
Yes, exactly.
What if you started late, though?
Well, he acknowledges that.
Okay.
He says everyone's journey is different.
Okay.
It's never too late to start.
Okay, so you're not doomed.
You're not dared.
Okay, good.
And everyone makes mistakes.
Okay, yeah.
It's about learning from them,
Okay.
forgiving yourself, and moving forward.
That's a good message.
It is.
What else does he talk about in terms of mindset?
Well, he emphasizes that building wealth is not a passive activity.
Okay.
It requires action,
Okay.
commitment.
You have to do something.
You do, yeah. You can't just, like, wish it into existence.
Right, right.
He gives practical tips,
Okay, like what?
like tracking your expenses, creating a budget,
Okay.
automating your savings and investments.
Okay, so it's like setting up those systems
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Put it on autopilot.
so you don't have to think about it.
Right.
It's like those good habits.
Yes, exactly.
Build those habits.
So it's not just about knowing the stuff.
No,
It's about actually doing it.
you got to do it.
Okay, that makes sense. So he's kind of like demystifying the world of finance,
He is.
making it seem less intimidating,
Yeah.
more approachable.
It doesn't have to be scary.
Right, okay. But he also like acknowledges that it takes effort, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just like, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is hard work.
Yeah.
It takes discipline.
But he's saying, like, it's worth it.
It's worth it
Yeah.
if you want to create that life of freedom
Okay.
and abundance.
It's about taking control.
It is. It's
Yeah.
about owning your financial destiny.
I like that. Okay, so now let's shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and talk about one of the kind of more captivating stories
Ooh, I love
that
things.
Colin shares in the book.
Yeah.
He tells the story of a man named Mook. Mook,
Yes.
Who he met while he was staying at a hotel in Tahiti.
Right.
Okay, so tell us about Muck. Who is this guy? So tell us about Muck. Who is this guy?
Okay, so Muck was the owner of this hotel where Collins was staying in Tahiti.
Okay.
And Collins, being, the curious guy he is, asks Muck, how did you end up owning a hotel in Tahiti?
Right.
And Muck's story is pretty wild. He and two friends, fresh out of college, with zero farming or business experience, buy a pineapple plantation in Tahiti on a whim.
They just bought a pineapple plantation.
They did. They saw this cheap ad and just went for it.
Did they even see it first?
Nope. They just, bought it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
So what happened?
Well, as you might expect,
yeah,
their pineapple venture didn't exactly go as planned.
They didn't know what they were doing?
No, they had no idea.
Okay.
But here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
The local bank, seeing their predicament and also seeing their determination, offers them a chance to finish building this half-constructed hotel.
Oh, wow.
Near their plantation.
So they went from pineapples to hotels.
They did. Again, with no experience.
Wow. That's a big change.
It was a risky move.
Yeah.
But they were willing to learn and adapt.
Yeah.
And guess what? They ended up not just finishing that hotel,
but
building and operating multiple hotels in Tahiti.
They became successful.
They did. They became quite successful.
Wow, that's amazing.
I know, right?
What a story. So what's the takeaway for us? How does this relate to building wealth?
Well, I think it highlights a few key points that Collins emphasizes throughout the book.
Okay, like what?
First, it shows the importance of being open to new opportunities.
Okay.
Even if they're outside your comfort zone.
Right.
Muck and his friends didn't let their lack of experience hold them back.
They were willing to take a risk.
Exactly. They were willing to jump in and learn as they went.
That's a good lesson.
It is.
Okay.
It also underscores the importance of adaptability.
Yeah.
When their pineapple plan failed, they didn't give up.
Right.
They pivoted, found a new path, and made it work.
Okay.
That flexibility is so important in finance and in life.
Yeah, being able to adjust when things don't go as planned.
Exactly.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, one more thing.
Okay.
Sometimes a little bit of naivete can be an advantage.
Oh, interesting.
They went in with a fresh perspective.
Okay.
Unburdened by conventional wisdom or the fear of failure.
They didn't overthink it.
Exactly. And sometimes that's what it takes.
I like that. Now, Collins also shares some of his own experiences with taking risks.
No, he does. He talks about how he used his FU money not just to walk away from bad situations, but also to pursue his passions.
Even if they weren't guaranteed money makers.
Exactly.
Okay.
He even used it to pursue his passion for writing.
Which led to this book.
Exactly. So, in a way, we wouldn't even be here without Muck's story and Collins's willingness to take a risk.
That's a great point. Okay, so throughout this book, Collins really emphasizes that building wealth isn't just about the numbers.
It's about mindset.
Right, yeah. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some key takeaways for listeners to start applying to their lives?
Well, I think the core message is that building wealth doesn't have to be complicated. It's about embracing simplicity, consistency, and discipline. Spend less than you earn. Invest the surplus in low-cost index funds. Avoid debt. Start early. Be patient.
Let that compounding work its magic.
Let it do its thing.
It's about taking control of your financial destiny. And creating a life of freedom and abundance.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
But it's also about more than just money, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's about aligning your spending with your values. Finding work you enjoy, living a fulfilling life.
It's about using your money to create the life you want.
Rather than being controlled by it.
Exactly. It's about freedom.
So, for those listening, remember that the journey to financial freedom starts with a single step.
Take what you've learned.
Start applying it.
And watch as you move closer to your goals.
Yeah. And remember, even though we didn't explicitly discuss this, Collins' principles of building financial wealth can be applied to other areas of your life too.
That's right. Think about how you can invest in your health.
Your relationships.
Your personal growth, your community.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.